Hi, I am Vicki Willden-Lebrecht. I'm the founder of the Bright Agency, and I'm really excited to be here with Carys Bexington, who wrote The Night Before Christmas in Wonderland, which you may have noticed has been made into a film that we're so excited about. So, Carys, it's been an exciting few weeks.
So exciting.
What has been your highlight?
Oh, goodness. Seeing the film in bright lights at the Curzon Cinema in Mayfair.
That was pretty amazing, wasn't it? The title across.
The title all the way across.
Did you ever think that your title would be in bright lights?
No. I mean, there's always
a
tiny bit of you that hopes that maybe something you create one day. But
do you have that vision when you're writing of what things look like when you're writing them?
It's more
what it looks like on the page.
It's more what it looks like on the page. But now Kate has illustrated this book so beautifully, and now it's been animated so truthfully to her illustrations. It's impossible to see it any other way, or remember how I saw it in my head.
I've always wondered about that moment when you're an author, because I've worked a lot with illustrators and author illustrators, but when you are an author and you've created that world and that story in your imaginations and the words are there, that moment that you see the roughs for the first time, do you, is it a given that you're like, that's it, or do you have that sort of, that's not how I saw it, but that's even better than, like, or is it different every time?
Yes, that's not how I saw it, but it's even better. I think this is the beauty of working with really wonderful professional illustrators, and I always am mindful of not giving away too much about what I think or how I saw the spread looking. I know some authors give quite comprehensive notes in the side going, this is how I saw it, but I try really hard not to do that, because my experience so far has been, if I'm just quiet and say nothing, it's quite incredible what an illustrator can do just with the verse, just with the prose. And the reason that they're so brilliant is because they have these vivid imaginations all of their own, and can bring it to life.
And were you happy with the Bandersnatch?
Everyone loves the Bandersnatch. It's been fantastic, because we've been in schools this week and we did some bookshop events over the last few weeks, and I love to put the book on a big screen, and then when the Bandersnatch spread comes up, all the kids just go, and it's just so nice, because it's just this incredible spread. And in the film as well, where they brought it to life and he's speeding around, it's just
the film, the song with the Bandersnatch, so and then we don't want to give too much away, but it is
my favorite song of all. It's so good. It's so good. Yeah, Guy Chambers has done an incredible job with the music.
So Carys and I went and watched the animatic. So an animatic is when you see basically the pencil drawings animated with the full storyline with the score. And at that point, we didn't know, I don't think we knew it was Guy Chambers that had written it or had done the music.
I can't remember.
Written the music score. And we sat in this room, and I was a bit nervous that I was like, we're going to sit for an hour and a half and watch sort of pencil. And I didn't know how much of this, if we were just going to be really seeing thumbnails. And it went in a flash. And the music was the first time we'd heard the music. And I just remember coming up going, the music, it's so good. It's so good. The music's so good. And what's really great about the music, I think, is although it's a Christmas film, it's not twinkly, Christmassy music. I don't think you would be unhappy to hear that at other points in the year. It doesn't feel it's not.
This is what I say.
Christmas. It's so uplifting.
This is what I say to people. It's you could play the whole album in the car with your kids singing along, and
we have
annoy you.
And we have done, and it doesn't annoy you. And that's the thing.
It's just really good music.
I know. I'm really interested in some of my peers hearing their feedback, because I'm like, does it just not annoy me because I'm just so proud of it, and it's just so wonderful to have seen a book that you've gone from early stages right the way through, and also to add so smoothly. Like, as an agent, this is one of the things that Richard, who did the film deal on it, we are nervous about with Carys, because this was your first book, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So this was her first book, and she's had the most incredible journey with her first debut book. And as agents, we're like, do we need? How are we going to follow this great success? This great success up? But let's just go back to, because we have been on this journey together right from the beginning, Carys. So often, loads of our authors and illustrators ask us how to get an agent. So how let's go right the way back. What gave you the idea for the book?
Walking my dogs in Dorset. I remember the spark of the idea really clearly. There's a very narrow footpath, and just coming off of a road, and I had my dogs on the lead, and I had to kind of put them in front of me to go on this narrow footpath, and I just was already kind of pondering ideas, and I just thought, strangely,
Alice in Wonderland and the Night.
No, I thought they look like the reindeer, like Father Christmas sleigh. For some reason, just came into my head, and then I pondered the idea as I walked home, and then thought, well, where can Father Christmas go? And I was, just mulling things over, and just sort of.
Have you always loved Alice in Wonderland?
Yes, ever since I was a kid, and I think it was all just sort of stirring around in my head, and just sort of crossed them over. And then I was thinking of the Queen of Hearts and the Off With Your Head, and that's where I started. The what cheek is the Queen? Who in wonder is that? How dare he stand there in that red bobble hat? She hopped up and down, her whole face turning red. Then she bellowed, "Oi, you!" I say, "Off with your head." Sort of started there. And then thought about it was the night before Christmas. It just sort of, because I've been writing so much in rhyme and really working on how to write in rhyme, because some of my early stuff was not great, and it's learning from that, and you practice and you practice and you practice, and you hopefully get better. So that sort of rhyming verse came to me first, and then I started with "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," because I absolutely love "The Night Before Christmas." Poem.
I do.
It's
so magical. It's so magical. It's just like,
and that tingly
feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a great rhyme scheme as well, and so it just sort of bounces along so nicely, and it all just sort of came together, and that's how I write. I think it's writing is so unique to the individual, isn't it? And you're never quite sure exactly how the pieces all come together in your head, but they do. And then you just have to try really hard to kind of capture it before you lose it.
And when did you know it was finished?
When I finally made it to the end. It took me a long time to write it, because I was still
it is a complicated story.
It is a complicated story. It was incredibly long.
Which is why I think has done so well to be made into a film, because there's a lot of, it's for those of you that haven't read it, there's a lot of depth in the book. It's a real story. I always say it's a real story. All of the books that we do, hopefully you'd say there's a story there. But it's
there's a lot of layers.
There's a lot of layers,
and I think this is.
And then you've got because you're building on such a known book. Yeah. You've got established characters to weave.
You've got to weave in the poem, because that's set up at the beginning. Yeah. You've got to weave that in.
It's clever stuff, Carys. It's clever stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know. It's weaving it all in a way that when you get to that reveal, you go, oh, that makes sense. Yeah, because we don't really know where the Queen of Hearts is. So this is a new story that makes absolute sense within the context of the old stories and the poems. And it is hard, because you've got to rhyme it all, and then you've only got a certain page count. I mean, it was going to be a normal 30-page picture book, and then Macmillan extended it to 40 pages to give Kate more space to really, run with it, with her illustrations, which is fantastic, because it's long for a picture book.
And what I think is also quite interesting, obviously I'm a big fan of Carys, but if you think when this book came out, is 2018, 17?
19 it came out,
but you were writing it.
I wrote it in 2016. It was 2.5 years
before, and also before we've seen a lot of these precursor films like Wonka, where you're taking big known storylines and you're you're creating a precursor or an added story on. So it's kind of, you're ahead of your time.
Nice.
Ahead of your time. Did I ask you that? How did you get an agent? Or what made you then think this is finished? Now what do I do with it?
Well, I was writing it. You guys took me. So I'd written some other work and wasn't really sure how to go about the publishing process. So I was going to try and find an illustrator to kind of put it all together in one nice thing.
And that's why you approached us.
And that's why I approached you. So I called and you happened to answer the phone and you said, "We'll send..."
Because we are most known, the Bright Agency is definitely known for illustrators and author illustrators. But we do have a literary agencies.
But you were just starting that at the time. So I happened to call at an opportune moment to say, "I'm looking for an illustrator for this." And you sort of asked me, you know, what obviously I didn't really know anything about.
Randomly, I did actually.
You did answer the phone.
It was me that picked up the phone. So there's an element that I do think you make your own luck.
Yeah.
Because the stars did align that day. Because I remember your pitch, and I remember thinking, this is whatever you were pitching was like, this is interesting enough to be like, send it. Which I then read, and then I passed over to another agent to follow up. And so you could say that was very lucky, but you could also say, we don't get many phone calls now. Like, people don't, you made your own luck. You picked up the phone.
You got to pick up the phone.
And someone up there was helpful. And but that, I would say, the thing that with this whole thing is, if you speak to Richard, the amount of times I have climbed the stairs of Lupus and pitched them things over the years, and the various things that I thought would make that Christmas slot. And it's sort of a eyes on the prize. But this kind of came again, they found the book. It wasn't something that I had pitched. Yeah. They came. So it's one of those things that kind of, it's almost had a little dusting of something along the way, because it's at various slots. I think it's
just that it's a new story, and yet it's familiar enough with those familiar characters that people can absolutely get behind it. And
it's really good. Yeah. It is really good. And I do think, as an agent and as a parent that buys book, and I stand by this, is kind of, content is king. If it is good, it will be found. If it is sort of special, it gets discovered. And I think that the quality of content, if it is, and that it gives me faith, it gives me hope. If you are creative and you have an amazing talent, somehow it rises, the cream rises to the top. So what are you doing next? What are you doing next?
Well, I've written a preschool series, which is coming out. When is that coming out? 2026.
Well, I really hope you've enjoyed our interview. And Carys, you have really, I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed I've enjoyed the ride. So thank you so much for bringing your wonderful story to all of us and the joy it touches. And we really hope you enjoy the film, buy the book, listen to the music, and follow along for more.
Yep.
Thank you.